How you doing? My name is Christopher Brown. You now listen to my podcast, Sports Talk Chris, and this is episode 29. The NBA is back, and the games I saw this weekend felt legendary, and I'm probably so hyped and feel like that because we haven't seen basketball in months, but there were a lot of good games this weekend. Starting off on Friday, you had the Orlando Magic versus the Brooklyn Nets. Orlando Magic won 128 to 118. Leading scorer Evan Fournier, 24 points, and he had 5 assists. Next, we had the Portland Trailblazers versus the Memphis Grizzlies. Back in fourth game, winning overtime. Trailblazers pulled it out to 140 to 135. Leading scorer for the Trailblazers, you had CJ McCollum with 33 points. Dame Lillard also kicked in 29. And Carmelo had 21. Memphis Grizzlies, though. The young stars provided what they needed to provide. Ja Morant, 25 points, 11 assists. 22 points and 11 assists. Jaren Jackson Jr., 33 points. They both got it done. It just wasn't enough. They needed help from some of their role players. Next, you had the Phoenix Suns versus the Washington Wizards. Phoenix Suns won 125 to 112. Leading scorer DeAndre Ayton, 24 points, 12 rebounds, 2 blocks. Then you had the Milwaukee Bucks versus the Boston Celtics. A really good game. The Bucks won 119 to 112. The Bucks, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Man is a ball player. 36 points, 15 rebounds, 7 assists, and 32 minutes playing time. You look at the Celtics. Arguably their best player, Jason Tatum, shot 2 for 18. Really 1 for 17 though, because he got credit for a basket that a Milwaukee Buck player tipped in. He only got credit because he was closest. I don't know what was wrong with him. I don't know if it's rust or rhythm. He had a terrible game. Jaylen Brown did his thing though, 22 points. Gordon Hayward tipped in 17. Marcus Smart, 23 off the bench. It just wasn't enough. Then you had the Sacramento Kings versus San Antonio Spurs. Spurs pulled that out, 129 to 120. Led by DeMar DeRozan, 27 points, 10 assists, 5 rebounds. Then you had an overtime thriller with the Dallas Mavericks and the Houston Rockets. Houston Rockets won 153 to 149. This was a game that was legendary. Now, this was a legendary game. It had nothing to do with basketball has been played in months. This was a back-and-forth shootout. James Harden, 49 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists. Russell Westbrook, 31 points, 11 rebounds, 8 assists. 2 stars put in work. Go to the Dallas Mavericks. Luka Doncic, 28 points, 13 rebounds, 10 assists. Kristaps Porzingis, 39 points, 16 rebounds. Even Tim Hardaway Jr., 24 points. Trey Burke, the guy I have no idea to this day the Sixers got rid of, 31 points. 8 for 10 from the three-point line. It still wasn't enough. They lost by 4. But man, that was a high-scoring game. Both teams hitting threes, dunks, fast breaks. It was legendary. Now that was truly a legendary game. You go on Saturday. Miami Heat beat the Denver Nuggets 125 to 105. Leading scorers, you got Jimmy Butler, 22 points, 7 assists. Bam Adebayo, 22 points, 9 rebounds. That's what you expect from your All-Stars. Then you got the OKC Thunder versus the Utah Jazz. OKC winning in convincing fashion. Chris Paul, 18 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists. Helped lead in the victory, 110 to 94. Clippers versus the Pelicans. That game was just, I barely watched it. I looked up, the Clippers were up by 30, 72 to 42. The Clippers hit their franchise record, 25 three-pointers. They won 126 to 103, but it was not that close. Like I said, at one point, they was up 30 plus. Then you got the Indiana Pacers versus the Philadelphia 76ers. Pacers win 127 to 121, led by TJ Warren scoring 53 points. Nobody else on the team had over 20. You look at the 76ers, your star players did what they had to do. Embiid, 41-21. Ben Simmons, 19-13. Tobias Harris, 30-8. Then it was just a complete drop-off. Then the last game on Saturday night, you had the Toronto Raptors versus the Los Angeles Lakers. Raptors won in a convincing fashion. Defense played a humongous part in their victory. They won 107 to 92. Got to put respect on the Raptors team, man. They might be lacking in star power, But one thing they're not lacking is in fundamentals and knowing how to play the game the right way. And they know in order to win, it starts on the defensive end. And they're really good on the defensive end, one of the best teams in the league, and they showed. Sunday, Washington Wizards versus the Brooklyn Nets. Brooklyn Nets leading scorer, Karis LeVert, 34 points. And you had Jared Allen give you 22 and 15. Good victory for the Nets team that's not playing with none of their best players, still figuring out how to get dubs. Then you had the Boston Celtics versus the Trailblazers. Trailblazers lost 124 to 128. Trailblazers were losing by 20 points at one point in time during that game. They fought and they clawed their way back. They still end up losing, though, because you can't start off that bad and expect to win without doing everything right at the end of the game. They had some turnovers, some missed shots they should have made. They ended up losing. But you look at that Boston Celtics team. Jason Tatum came back from shooting 2 for 18. Cut his hair. So was it the haircut why he had a bad game? We may never know. But he ended up having 34 points, 8 assists. Shot 5 for 8 from the three-point line. He was a bucket. Look at Jaylen Brown, 30 points. Another bucket. Two best players, in my opinion, two forwards, can get it done on both ends, can score at a high level. Look at Gordon Hayward, right? Gordon Hayward, 22 points. Well, Kemba Walker only playing 22 minutes, scoring 14 points. They needed another guy to get him over 20. And Gordon Hayward provided that. I mean, it was just not too long ago. Gordon Hayward was arguably one of the best small forwards in the league, all-star with the Utah Jazz. He's finally finding his way with the Celtics, understanding his role, understanding what he has to do to help the team win. 4 for 5 from the three-point line, 6 for 10 from the field, 6 for 6 from the free throw line. I mean, he still got the talent, man. He had to just get back in rhythm after that injury. He had to get back in rhythm. He had to find his role, and I think he found it now. He's going to be a big piece in the Celtics if they're trying to make, a championship run. After that, you had the Memphis Grizzlies versus San Antonio Spurs. Spurs, led by that man with the plan, DeMar DeRozan, who hit the game-winning shot at the end, pulled out that victory. The man with the plan wasn't the leading scorer, though. DeJounte Murray, a really good two-way point guard. I'm talking about the man can lock you up and the man can get buckets. He's still young, but he's finding his way now. Gave you 21 points, 10 rebounds. Without LaMarcus Aldridge, they need some people to step up. And you look at the Spurs roster, 6 players scored over double figures. You got some on the bench with 9, 8, and their starting center was 6. So everybody that played contributed. Everybody that played did their role. And that's what you expect from a Greg Popovich coach team. That's what you expect. The Memphis Grizzlies, they did all right. Ja Morant gave you 25, 9, and 9. Jaren Jackson gave you 21. But at the end of the day, it just wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. The Grizzlies are still the 9th seed. Right now, it's between, in my opinion, the Blazers and the Spurs on who's going to be that 9th seed and battle the Grizzlies for that play-in tournament. But the Grizzlies lost to those both teams. They lost to the Trailblazers and to the Spurs. So it's going to be a fun battle towards the end. Then you had the Sacramento Kings versus Orlando Magic. Magic won in a convincing fashion, 132 to 116, led by Terrence Ross, 25 points off the bench, and Vucevic, their center, 23 and 11 rebounds. Then the game of the night, the Houston Rockets versus the Milwaukee Bucks. Houston Rockets won 120 to 116, led by Russell Westbrook, who had 31 points. What a game. What a game. Back and forth, fourth quarter showdown. James Harden gave you 24, 7, and 7. Didn't shoot the ball fairly well, but had really good defense, really good playmaking towards the end of the game. Look at the Bucks. They only had 3 people in double figures. Brook Lopez, 23 and 12. Giannis, 36, 18, and 8. Chris Middleton, 27 and 12. It's good that your 3-star players are doing what has to be done, but other people has to contribute. Like I said, nobody else has scored over double figures. Robin Lopez, he barely played. He gave you 2 minutes. You look at Kyle Korver, 18 minutes, 5 points, isn't enough. Look at Marvin Williams. Yeah, he had 9 rebounds, but 23 minutes, 4 points, that's not enough. George Hill, supposed to be one of their best scorers off the bench. 26 minutes, 5 points, not enough. Dante DiVincenzo, 23 minutes, 9 points, not enough. Wesley Matthews, 26 minutes, 3 points, not enough. Somebody else on that team had to help score. Literally only 3 people were scoring. Only 3 people were dominating. You look at the Rockets, you got James Harden, 24, Russell, 31, Robert Covington, 15, PJ Tucker, 11. Daniel House, 16. Everybody in their starting lineup scored double figures. One of the reasons why they won. Then the last game, you had the Phoenix Suns versus the Dallas Mavericks. The Suns won 117 to 115, led by Devin Booker, 30 points. You got DeAndre Ayton only had 7 points, 8 rebounds, but they still had key contributors. Karen Johnson, 19, 12 rebounds. Ricky Rubio, 20 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists. You go to the Dallas Mavericks. Luka had an amazing game. I'm talking about 40 points, 8 rebounds, 11 assists. 18 for 19 from the free throw line. Still was not enough. Kristaps gave you 30. Still was not enough. Steph Curry gave you 16. Bouncing back from having a terrible game against the Rockets. But then you look at Tim Hardaway, he only had 2. It's not enough, man. They need more scoring. But yeah, those were the games. And I'm about to tell y'all some of the things I noticed this weekend watching these teams play. Now to start off with the Portland Trailblazers. They went 1-1 this weekend, winning against the Grizzlies and losing to the Celtics. The biggest thing I noticed was the play of Yusuf Nurkic and Gary Trent Jr. Nurkic has been battling with injuries for the past couple years, but like I said on Friday, when he's healthy, he is dominant. And the 2 games he played, he showed it, man. I'm talking about Friday against the Grizzlies. 18 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, and 6 blocks. That's dominant, especially for your first regular season game in almost 2 years. Then he played amazing on Sunday. 30 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, and 1 block. What he brings to the Blazers is somebody who can do, honestly, he can do everything at the center position. Everything that you need at the center position. He's a skilled scorer, skilled passer, can rebound and can defend. I was not surprised by how he played because, like I said, when he's on the court, he's dominant. But who I was surprised by was Gary Trent Jr. The production he provided let him be on the court in the game situations. He scored 17 against the Grizzlies, playing great defense, shooting 4-5 from the three-point line. Then on Sunday, he played even better, bringing the same intensity he had on the defensive end. And on the offensive end, he scored 21 points, making 7 out of his 11 three-pointers. Now, Dame and CJ, they provided the production that they always do. High scoring, high assists. As of right now, they're the 10th seed. And the next game is against the Rockets, will be an exciting one on Tuesday. They're battling to get in the playoffs. They have the roster, but they can't afford to take any losses. They can't afford to be down by 20 in any of these games. They need to put themselves in the best situation. But if you ask me right now who I would think is going to end up that AC when it's all said and done, my pick is the Trailblazers. But like I said, they're the 10th seed right now. They need to make it to 9th seed and just be in the 4 games between them and the AC to play in that play-in tournament. It's going to be hard. They're going to have to battle. They can't lose any more games. But like I said, if you ask me who I think is going to make it, right now I'm going with the Blazers. Now with my Philadelphia 76ers, man, they need to fire Brent Brown right now. I'm talking about let him leave the bubble. Let him get a plane home. I do not want him coaching anymore. He has to go. All of my fellow Sixers fans, they feel me when I say this. Anybody that watch basketball, they agree with me. His rotations are terrible. His schemes are terrible. Not putting the players in their best position to succeed, terrible. The first thing I want to talk about. How do you play Raul Neto? A bum. He's a bum. I was staying 10 toes on this. He's a bum. How you play him 21 minutes? He only gave you 2 points. He is somebody that he does not provide playmaking. Why is he on there on the court when you got Ben Simmons, who's the best playmaker on that team, one of the best playmakers in the league? He didn't provide scoring, only 2 points in 21 minutes. He's not a good defender, so it's not like he's giving us some on one end and not some on the other. He wasn't giving us anything, man. He's small, can't shoot, can't score, can't playmate, can't defend, yet he's on our roster. It just baffles me. I wanted him gone all season. I never wanted him on the team. Why is he playing 21 minutes, bro? It makes no sense to me why he's playing that much. I don't care. He sucks, bro. He sucks. Yeah, I understand his plus minus was 14. But did he contribute any of that? 2 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 21 minutes. You look at somebody like Alec Burks. 9 points, 12 minutes, 3 out of 3 from the three-point line. At least he'd have provided us something. Instead of Raul Neto, who's just sitting there getting carried. That's why his plus minus looks like that. He wasn't doing anything. The other players on the court were doing everything. Al Horford, 10 points, 6 rebounds. I feel like he did what he had to do. I understand the plus minus was bad, but that's his job coming off the bench. I feel like, 22 minutes, 10 points. Yeah, I might win a little bit more, but at the end of the day, he's not the reason why we lost. You play one of our best defenders, Matisse Thybulle. Play him 12 minutes. When you got somebody that scores 53 points on you, common sense would say throw all your best defenders at him. Yet, one of our best defenders only played 11 minutes. You can't say he was bad on offense because he shot 1 3 and he made that 1 3. Okay, you played him 12 minutes. What is wrong with you, Brent Brown? Like, leave. Can you just quit? Because you suck. You're a terrible head coach. It just blows my mind how you're playing this dude, Raul Neto, 21 minutes. He's not contributing anything. Somebody gave us 53. You leave a defender on the bench for most of the game. You leave somebody that was the 5th leading scorer. You only play him 12 minutes. Yeah, you play somebody 21 minutes who only scored 2 points. Ben Simmons had 19. Dominant. Let me tell you why he was dominant. Because most of the times when he got the ball in the postal position, he was making a play. He shot for 8 for 14. He should have got the ball way more. There's nobody on that team that can guard him. Everybody was too small, wasn't strong enough, or they was too slow. I don't care that you want to play Shake at the point guard position. You want to know what Shake did against the Pacers? Let me tell y'all. He had 0 points in 19 minutes. He had 5 personal fouls. He had 3 turnovers. And turnovers was like back-to-back. He played terrible. This is why I was saying in the scrimmages I want him to play more than any other starter because he has the less experience and I want him to get in rhythm. I want him to get ready. So things like this will not happen. Because as soon as he started playing bad, I would have pulled him. I would have put another shooter in that lineup, or I'd have put another defender in that lineup. Not Raul Neto. He should not be on the court at the end of the game because he did nothing, absolutely nothing. You got Alec Burks, like I keep saying, 3 for 3 from the 3-point line. He would have helped space the floor out. Matisse Thybulle, a defender. The dude gave us 53 points, and you left one of our best defenders off the court. It just baffles me. It just baffles me. You're not putting your players in the best position to win. You're the head coach. At the end of the day, I blame you. Why do I blame you? Because our star players did what they had to do. Yeah, Tobias Harris shot 12 for 29. But at the end of the day, he gave me 30. Ben Simmons gave me 19 and 13. And B gave me 41 and 21. What did you do to put everybody else in the best position to succeed? You did nothing. You had terrible rotations out there. Terrible rotations. Common sense would say, okay, a dude is having a great game. Let's double team him. Common sense would say, let's put a scheme out to help slow him down. Because he was the only player that was beating us. Nobody else was doing anything. Victor Oladipo only had 15 points. Aaron Holiday only had 15 points. Like, what are you doing, Brent Brown? Miles Turner only had 9 points. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. We grabbed more than 20 rebounds more than them. Oh my God. I just get frustrated because it's common sense things why the Sixers lose these games that we lose. It's common sense. It's head coaching things. It's things that if you have a good head coach would not happen. Any decent head coach, any head coach with a brain will understand, okay, if a guy is giving us points, if he's having a great game, the man shot 20 for 29. 20 for 29. He shot 9 for 12 from the 3-point line. Common sense would say, okay, we need to double team this guy. Okay, we need to throw a whole bunch of defenders at this guy. Common sense would not play a bum that provides nothing 21 minutes. Common sense would say, okay, my star player in Embiid, nobody on the court can touch him. Miles Turner cannot touch him. You put Jakari Sampson on him too small. Common sense would say, okay, throw the ball to Embiid in the post. Common sense would say, okay, let Ben Simmons do a thing in the post. Common sense would say, okay, Shake Middleton, he's not having a good game. Let's put Ben back at point guard. Let's provide him with spacing. And common sense would say, let's play freaking basketball. I came to the conclusion that Ben Brown has no common sense. I need him gone. We're not going to win with him. We're not going to win with him. It's just more obvious now. Because we lost to the Pacers off common sense things. Okay, I understand TJ Warren was having a career night, but there's still certain things we could have done. Certain things we could have done to stop him. Certain things we could have done that could have said, okay, you doing your thing? Well, y'all can't stop us on offense, so let's do our thing. Common sense things, head coach things that could help us win. And now there was one play that I will blame, on the players. End of the game, Ben Simmons helped off TJ Warren. Let him hit a three. Now, Ben, you got to understand the dude's hot. Once he caught the ball, I knew he was going to make it. When you hot, you make almost everything you shoot. At the time, he was 8 for 11 from the three-point line. You should have known not to help off him. Because when he's catching it, he's shooting it because he's having that type of a night. Other than that, though, I blame Brent Brown. I blame him because it's common sense things that the Sixers keep losing. Common sense. Okay, the point guard that you want to play point guard is having a bad night. Who's the second? Well, first of all, not even the second best. Who's the best point guard in our team originally? Ben Simmons. So why not just put him back in the point guard and let him do his thing? Let him do his thing. Yet you have Raul Neto playing 20 minutes. Like, I'd rather Al Horford be out there than Raul Neto. Because at least I know what Al Horford is going to bring to the table. This man Neto provided nothing. Like, I want him going, and I want Brent Brown going. I want it to be a package deal. I want them to leave Orlando now. I hope they prove me wrong. But as it stands right now, they always prove me right. To the point where they need to be gone. They always prove me right that they don't know how to do their jobs. Why did we let Trey Burke go? He's a 55-time better player than this man Raul Neto. He's been better than him his entire career. Why not let that be the backup guard? Why did we not sign Isaiah Thomas when we realized we were going to start Shake? Isaiah Thomas is a proven player in this league. You didn't have to give him a whole bunch of money. You could have gave him a vet deal. You could have gave him a nice, solid deal. He could have did way better than Raul Neto. I don't understand why he's there. I don't understand why Brent Brown is there. I'm sorry that I wanted to spill, but it's just like I was so angry watching this game because they're the common sense things that a good head coach would have done to help us win. Because it was not hard. You send a double team. You put a better rotation out. You play to your stars. Our stars had a great game, but they could have had a better game if you put them in better situations to win. I understand Josh Richardson only had 4 points. You could have called some floppy actions. You called some type of plays to get him more shots. You could have done a lot more things. You could have played our shooters more, our defenders more. Yet you want to play a bum more. I'm gonna stop on the Sixers. I'm gonna stop because I could talk for an hour. I'm gonna stop on them. But my feelings aren't going to change. We need Brent Brown gone. We need Raul Neto gone. You should have played Shake more. So now, if Shake starts bad again, just move him to the bench. Let him be on that second unit. Put Ben as the guard. Like how this was my lineup going into this. I'd had Ben, Richardson. Then I either had Thibault, Burks, or Glenn Robinson at that small forward position. Then I would have had Tobias at the power forward. It didn't even matter. My lineup would just been 2 of them forwards and then Embiid at center. Let Shake come off the bench and let him and Al Horford run that second unit. And you could have kept Burks on the bench. Now you got 3 capable players. It's just common sense thing, man. It's just common sense thing. I hope they get it. I hope they get it right. I honestly hope the Sixers get it right. I need them to get it right. Our next game is Monday against the San Antonio Spurs. This is a must-win game. I cannot stand us to lose. I'm just going to be so frustrated if we lose. We need to win this game on Monday. We need to. We need to win this game tonight. Crazy, man. Now let me talk about the Houston Rockets. To all my Rockets fans out there, let me be the first to say I apologize. I picked them to lose both of their games this weekend, and they ended up winning both. It's not that I don't like their players, because I do. Their players are 100% ball players, led by 2 stars in Russell and James Harden, who I'm a fan of. I'm a fan of all their players on their team because they all can ball. But the reasons why I picked them to lose is because they play with no big man. Like the 2 teams they lost to this weekend, the Mavs and the Bucks, have a crazy size advantage against them. Common sense would say play bully ball. I guess that wasn't enough. Against the Mavs, they were down 7 points with 45 seconds left. Somehow found a way to force it into overtime and then win a game. Then against the Bucks, they went on a 16-4 run with under 3 minutes left in the game to win. Now the Mavs, they lack defenders, so a shootout is something that the Rockets can win. But against the Bucks, I thought the Bucks were going to win at least by 10 points. You look at the Bucks, they're great on both ends. They can score, they can shoot with the best of them, they can defend, and they have a dominant size advantage. They dominate in the paint, and they dominate with shooting. So I'm thinking, oh my God, this is going to be an easy win for the Bucks. Not an easy one, but, you know what I'm saying, a controllable win. The Bucks out-rebounded the Rockets by over 20 points, but the Rockets still pulled out the victory. Why? Well, they only had 9 turnovers compared to the Bucks' 22. They made 21 threes compared to the Bucks' 9. They made 27 free throws compared to the Bucks' 17. They also had defense when it mattered the most. I'm not a Rockets hater. I never hated their team. I just didn't know how it worked. But now I'm thinking to myself, what type of league are we in now? What type of league am I watching now? How the style of basketball is totally different from when I was born, even from 10 years ago. The Rockets can get away with playing small ball because a lot of teams don't have dominant bigs or players that can bully in the paint and bully in the post. Now going against these 2 teams, they had 2 players that can do that. You got Kristaps Porzingis. I understand he likes to shoot, but the man's 7'2", 7'3", can dominate the paint when he chooses to, and which he did. So they lack defenders. So okay, it was a shootout, they lost. But you go against the Bucks, you got Brook Lopez. Brook Lopez was an all-star with the Nets, scoring 20+ points with the Nets, dominating in the paint before he started shooting. So common sense would have told me, let him dominate in the paint, let him bully in the paint. I understand Giannis is a rim runner. So if you thought that was going to play an effect, I would have just let Brook Lopez play a lot more with the second unit. So he could just dominate and bully in the paint. And then, you know, he could have still played with Giannis, but I just let him play more with the second unit so he could be somebody that you know is going to produce points. Because the only player that can guard him consistently was Tyson Chandler. He didn't play a second. You mean to tell me you got a 7-foot guy and then somebody 6'6" guarding him and you don't throw him the ball every time you get down the court? The style of basketball has changed. Now me, that's what I'm doing. Brook Lopez gave you 23. He should have got way more post-ups than what he did, because when he did get post-ups, he was making plays, he was scoring. When he didn't, he was getting offensive rebounds. Like I said, they out-rebounded them by 20 points. But the Rockets, man, they were not turning the ball over. They shoot a lot of shots. They shoot a lot of threes. They get to their free throw line. Their style of play is working, yo. It's working. I would have never thought it would have worked. But like I said, there's not a lot of bigs. There's not a lot of players that can dominate in the post. I honestly can't name 10 big men right now off the top of my head. I can't. That can dominate in the post well enough for the Rockets to be worried. So they can get away with this style of play. Against who and for how long? We have not seen that yet. But as of right now, they're legit. I never thought that they weren't legit. I was just still questionable on how they would play. But after these 2 weekends, I'm starting to be a fan of it more. Now, when you look at the Mavericks, right? Man, when I watch them play, they have a great coach, a great roster, but what they really lack is some dominant defenders. They went 0-2 this weekend, losing to the Rockets and losing to the Suns. Against the Rockets, it was a shootout, like I said. It was a good game, a winnable game. But losing to the Rockets isn't as bad as losing to the Suns. The Suns are not a playoff team. You have no business losing to a team like that. No business. You want to be considered, you know, a great playoff team, a team that can make a run. You can't be losing to teams like the Suns. You can't. The Mavs only had 3 players in double figures that game. It just blows my mind. They need a defender. Once they get a defender, they're going to be good. They got a really good young core right now. But I'm really noticing, man, they can't get away without playing with a couple of defenders. At least one dominant one. That's all they're missing. They got all the offense in the world. They're one of the best offensive team in the league. You look at their numbers, they're having one of the best offensive seasons ever. But what they lack, man, is that defender. Now another team I'm gonna shout out. The last team I'm gonna talk about is the San Antonio Spurs. I'm not a believer. Nah, scratch that. I wasn't hating or I wasn't saying they couldn't do it. I just didn't think they could do it because of not having LaMarcus Aldridge. Yet they winning these games. They're the ninth seed right now. The NBA was the regular season was to stop right now. They go against the Grizzlies for a battle on that 8th spot. Can't count out the Spurs. You got a great head coach in Popovich who's going to coach his players, put them in the best situations possible for them to succeed. They still have a really good roster without LaMarcus Aldridge. So just imagine if they had LaMarcus Aldridge, they'd probably be one of the favorites right now. But it's going to be tough for them. It's going to be tough. But they won both of their games this weekend. They doing what they got to do. They're putting themselves in the best position to make it to the playoffs. So I got to shout them out because I honestly thought it was going to be the Blazers ahead of them. I thought it was going to be the Pelicans ahead of them. I'm about to speak on the Pelicans, though. I almost forgot about them. I thought the Kings, for some reason, would be better than them. But now I'm thinking about it. Kings too young. The Spurs got too much experience on them. So it's going to be a close battle. But let me talk about the Pelicans real quick. I don't think the Pelicans, at this point, I don't know if they're going to make the playoffs. They're going to have to win out every single game. And then the Pelicans front office, I feel like, isn't worried about making the playoffs this year. They're worried about the future. I understand that, but don't hold them accountable for not making the playoffs when you're not putting them in that best situation. You're not letting Zion play. Zion missed 13 days. Zion missed all 3 scrimmage games. I understand that, so I understand this short burst thing. But you need to play him, one, in the best situations for these short bursts. When they played against the Jazz, they should have played him at the end of the game, the final 2 minutes. That's a short burst, what you want to call it. Then against the Clippers, they were getting blown out. So the final 4 minutes, I would have put Zion in then. Because you want him to get his win. You want him to get, back in shape. Then why not play him when you're getting blown out? So he can get his rhythm. Don't have him sitting on the bench unless you say he's hurt. If he's not hurt, he should be there at the end of the game. Because I know y'all not probably going to have him run his sprints right now. Which, if you want to get him in shape, that's what he should be doing. But yet, y'all don't want to play him at the end of the game against the Clippers. That would have been the best situation for him to help get in rhythm, like I said, to help get in shape. David Griffin, their president, I don't want to misquote him, but I'm going to paraphrase basically what he said. Basically what he said was, I'm picking Zion's future over us making the playoffs right now. I'm saying I understand that. But y'all got one of the best chances because y'all y'all schedule, after their first 2 games, their schedule is sweet. And then they're going to have to play some teams that they're going to have to beat out to make it to the playoffs, like the Trailblazers, like the Grizzlies. So their destiny is in their own hands. That's why you need to play Zion as much as you can now, so when these really important games, these winnable games come up, y'all have a better chance. I understand y'all was going to get blown out by the Clippers. I understand that because y'all not going to play Zion all the minutes. So why not play him at the end of the game like I'm saying to help get him his win? I don't know what's going on with the front office, with the coaching. They're making a lot of excuses right now, trying to protect Zion, this, that, and the third. I mean, if Zion won the hoop, he'd have spoke his opinion. I don't know what's going on over there. It'd just be common sense to say, to get in basketball shape, you got to play basketball. I'm going to leave it at that. Now, Monday, August 3rd, 6 games coming on today. Toronto Raptors versus the Miami Heat at 1:30. Really good Eastern Conference matchup. 2 of the best teams in the Eastern Conference. It's going to be a really good game. Defense on top of defense, grittiness, toughness. It's a must-watch game. It's a must-watch game. Then you got the Denver Nuggets versus the OKC Thunder. Denver Nuggets got some players that aren't playing because of injury. So it's going to be, can't really judge them too hard. Their main players, their main wing guys, their point guard isn't playing. They're still going to compete, though. But it's going to be hard, like, for any team, if your main 3 guys not playing. Your point guard, your 2 wings, if they not playing, it's going to be hard. But like I said, it's going to compete. they're going to compete. Then you got the Pacers versus the Wizards. Pacers going to win. I hope the Wizards win, though, because I want the Sixers to move up and playoff seeding, but the Pacers should dominate that game. Then you got the Grizzlies versus the Pelicans. Like I said, man, like I just said, you want Zion to play in these games where you're controlling your own destiny, like this Memphis Grizzlies game. A team that's the 8th seed right now, they're at where you want to be at. So common sense, like this is why I talk about common sense. Common sense would say if you want to play basketball games, you want to be in basketball shape, you need to play in basketball games. So Zion should have played them last 4 minutes, even the last 5 minutes against the Clippers. So he got some rhythm going against this Grizzlies game, which is a must-win for the Pelicans. It is a must-win. It's going to be a good game, man. Then at 8, you got my Sixers versus the Spurs. The Sixers need to win. They need to convince me that they're a contender. If the Sixers end up losing this game, I think Tuesday, tomorrow, I'm going to talk an hour about how this roster need to be reconstructed because I'm sick and tired of it. Then at 9 o'clock, you got the Jazz versus the Lakers. That's going to be a really good game. The game the Jazz need to, put on their big boy pants and say, okay, let's ball. The Lakers, LeBron hasn't played relatively too good this bubble, let's be honest. But the Lakers right now are just waiting for the playoffs. They're really using this more than any other team to get in rhythm. And that's what they're gonna do tonight. If they lose, I don't think they're gonna be too worried, even though I don't think they're, they don't want to lose. But I don't think they're gonna be too worried. I want to see if Kyle Kuzma can keep up the scoring. I need Anthony Davis to have a better game. Because if is Rudy Gobert gonna be guarding AD? Because if so, then JaVale McGee, Dwight Howard need to eat up the glass. And if so, at the end of the game, are the Lakers going to play Anthony Davis at the 5 and bring Kuzma in? That's something to watch. But that's going to be a really good game. Now for my picks, that 1:30 game, the Raptors versus the Heat, I got the Heat. You got the Nuggets versus the Thunder. I got the Thunder. Got the Pacers versus the Wizards. I got the Pacers. The Grizzlies versus the Pelicans. I'm sticking with my Pelicans. They're not my Pelicans, I'm sorry. I'm sticking with the Pelicans. Because they still got a nice roster, man. You got Drew Holiday, Lonzo, Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart, JJ Redick, Favors. They still have a nice roster. But if they don't play Zion at least 16, 17, 18 minutes, I don't know what's going to happen. If they don't play him at the end of the game and the game's close, I might give up all hope. If they lose, I might give up all hope. Sixers versus the Spurs, of course I got the Sixers. Then Lakers versus the Jazz, of course I got the Lakers. It's going to be some good games. Very good games today. Can't wait. That's a wrap for this episode. Who do you guys think are going to win the games today? Let me know. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at sportsw_Chris. sportsw_Chris. Thank you all for listening and stay tuned for future episodes.